afternoon, everyone. I think it's good because I'll be using Ram's printer. Ram didn't get any questions. I'm hoping I don't need. So this specific topic here is we've been using Ram's printer for a while, more than 8 years, I think, that we've been using, and we've been looking at a lot of different things that we can do with the printer. This specific talk here shows how a single tool can be used to modify surface properties, can be used to jet and sinter at the same time. So I wouldn't go much into the specifics of what the plasma jet is because Ram has given a good idea. But I'll briefly introduce what we do within a lab that I did. It's the Advanced Manufacturing Photonics Lab at Oregon State. You've been hearing about printing a lot, but I'll briefly kind of cover the key challenges in maybe a slide. And then I will get into the details of what we've been doing with plasma jet printing in terms of the 3 steps, that is conditioning the surface, that is surface characteristics tuning, improving the adhesion of prints on surfaces, being able to achieve conductive patterns without any post-processing, and how do we get to multi-material printing. And one of the things that Ram alluded to was the low resolution, 75 micron. Of course, there's a limit for every printer, tens of microns. I've been trying to look at how we can leverage existing capabilities in the CMOS industry, combine it with photolithography, and see if we can improve the resolution on flex, not silicon, but on flex. So I'll kind of go over those aspects as well. All right, so this is my group here. I am an optics person by training. That's what I got my PhD in. So I have one half of my group focusing on optical stuff, silicon photonics, polymer photonics, fiber optics. And then when I joined industry after my PhD, I was introduced to print electronics, and that was about 17 years ago. So that stayed as well. So I have my other half that focuses on flexible electronics, and so we do a lot of devices as well. And I found a sweet spot where I could also kind of integrate additive for optics. So that's another area that we work on. And of course, all of this wouldn't be possible without my excellent graduate students and postdocs. There are tons of undergrads that also make all the work here possible. So we can and of course, nothing would be possible without the sponsors. Okay. Now, since we are in TechBreak and we've been, and this is the last session, so we've all seen the different advantages of flexible electronics. So we know what flexible electronics is. But one thing that we've seen over and over is the future is flexible. That most of the things are going to be flexible, conformal. And they have some cool features in the sense that they can be conformal, they have high impact resistance, they don't break upon contact on the floor, they are lightweight, they're efficient, and you can bring in a lot of different materials on the same platform, which would otherwise be not possible using traditional CMOS. So you can have increased functionalities on that same platform. So you have a range of different types of architectures and devices that, you've seen tons of examples over the past few days. But here are just some of the examples that my own group has worked on, including conformal phase arrays with active matrix of printed transistors, printed electro-optic modulators, and tons of projects with my courses where students get hands-on training on trying to build and get components attached to the different surfaces, and of course FHE. So we do a lot of different things in my lab. At Oregon State, we have four printers in my lab, starting from diamagnetic inkjet to aerosol and inkjet, and we also have Ram's space foundry plasma jet system. Now, if you talk about if you leave plasma jet aside and then talk about the other printers in general, it's a 3-step process. So what we mean by that is there is some amount of pre-processing that's needed. You need to make sure that your wettability is right, your ink lands on the surface well, it spreads well, all of that stuff. So you need to do some amount of pre-processing. The next step is patterning. That is, you would now take your ink, you would write your circuit using either aerosol jet, inkjet, spray, whatever. And then the third step is to make sure that you can get rid of the solvents and you do some amount of post-processing to leave the